Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to Ice Age TV. And wow, cool, overcast. This is the fourth day up here now that Hurricane Ian, the leftovers, I guess you could say, up north here in the Virginia, Maryland area. And it's just been raining like every day now. Solid Saturday, Sunday, Monday, now Tuesday. Same thing today, which that's a bummer because I want to drive my Hellcat Red Eye. Charger, that is. Yeah, so, wowsker, what is going on today? What is the conversations for Tuesday morning? Ice Age TV, Iceman's talk. And, boy, I tell you, I think to myself, do we still live in the United States of America? Or do we live in the divided states of America? And I think that we live more than ever in our life in the divided states of America. You could just look at me as an example. Am I divided on things? I mean, come on, let's look right here in front of me. That's an electric vehicle. But yet there is a gas vehicle. And there's a Ford product. And there's a Ram, in essence, Dodge product. So, for me, I'm divided. I'm a divided individual, just myself. Hey, Ginger, no, Ginger. So your neighbor, this is just drives you nuts. The neighbor's dog is already out calling my dogs this morning. It's just incredible. Their dogs have mental challenges across the way. I don't know what it's all about, but anyways, yeah, even for me, I'm a divided guy because if you look at all my vehicles, I've got a division. I've got different vehicles with different personalities. And more than ever in our country, I think that's probably pretty accurate where we are right now, right? So let's get into here. So even here, look at this here. I mean, come on. I mean, some people are just diehard Ford people that'll never buy a Dodge. And there's Dodge people or diehard Dodge people that'll never buy a Ford. But look at me. Yeah, look at me, right? Yeah, I've got the pleasure to own both. See, my attitude in life is, whatever you can own in this Ice Age life, if you think it through, if you're able to buy an Ice Age vehicle that's got power, yeah, take advantage of it. Because it's pretty obvious that us Ice Age people are destined like the dinosaurs. Yeah, and the divisions of the country. Let's hit the office here. Squared away, got to get the dogs in. Look at that. That wide body Charger is just so nice. And I just didn't realize that it had a muffler delete exhaust on it. So that thing just sounds, oh my gosh. Yeah, and I've already personalized it. I'm sure some people be like, you put a freaking sticker on your car. Yeah, it'll come off. Making a hurt. If you sit this out in the sun every day, yeah, I get all that. So, anyways, let's get up here in the office. Spent yesterday evening, reorganized my office here to kind of get back to my theme of the day, because the office used to look totally different. You don't know that. And this past summer, I redid it. And so I used to have a couch over here, and it used to be really just more cluttered. So what I did is I brought back in my goodies. Yeah, I've had some Land Rovers. I always wanted like a Defender 90, but I'm not really excited about the new Defender 90. One of the gentlemen here gave that to me because I was such a Corvette guy. Had lots of Corvettes. Kind of try to keep the theme in my office. Get some heat on here to what I own. If you look, I had an Indian Roadmaster, sold it. Harley Davidson. Never had a Duster. Had all the Jeeps. Had some Super Bs. Had a bunch of Chevy trucks. Wanted a Plymouth Duster. Had a Suburban. Yeah. If you're walking over here, I've got my Bronco. They sent me, took forever to get my Bronco, so Ford to send you all this stuff. There's the good old days on this barn. This is when I first moved here. This is how the barn looked. I don't know with all the, so, yeah. It wasn't until 2002. So I moved here in 1991. So I lived here for 11 years before I had the finances to actually rebuild this barn. And it really wasn't until 2005 that this upstairs office was built. So it's taken me many years. Yeah, there's my motorcycles. And there's my dog, the boxer dog. And there's a Joe Theismann, the John Riggins. He used to have his own Loosen Up Baby, Sandra O'Connor, Supreme Court Justice, where John Riggins was belched out at some event he attended with these congressmen, senators, and I guess the Supreme Court, whatever, and he said, "Loosen up, baby," something like that. So they had a beer at the local beer place out here in Winchester, Virginia. Made a really good beer, and I loved that beer, and they quit making it. And I used to buy stuff by the cases, and so I kept it. Yeah, and there's a Hummer, had Hummers, there's Vipers. Never had the Vipers. Surprising, I've never bought a Viper. And then back here is my Supra, which that's factual, had that. And over here is my collection of Dodges. Here's my basketball. Helping. There's my dad's weather barometer. And then here's the Lego Speed Champions, the Dodge Challenger Demon and the Dodge Charger. See that? I love that because I've got a Charger and a Challenger and all my Dodge stuff. And then here's my Ford Mustang GT500. Yeah, so it's Mopar, but Harley, Indian. So even for me, I'm a divided individual. If you just look around my office, I just said to you, I think more than ever, we're living in a time of the divided United States of America. Just office. You can see that I'm divided, right? Divided in the love of vehicles. So making a daily morning conversation, that's not easy. It's not easy me being a YouTuber and you're competing against other individuals. But I don't care. That isn't what I'm doing. I'm not here to make a living off my YouTube channel. I'm here to have fun, share the passion of my fun, of me buying vehicles, and at the same time, me just giving ideas and thoughts and views on where we are and what's going on. And like I said yesterday in my Fearless Leaders video, the cars are all part of our society. So I think it's pretty cool. I've got a YouTube channel called Ice Age, which I think is so appropriate to what's going on and the divisions of the world of what's right and wrong. And so I try to relate that in my passions for my vehicles. And I just got to think of myself, more than ever, we live in an age of technology, of information. When I grew up, you had a local newspaper, a major newspaper, and you had 6, 7, 8, 9 channels on TV. I'm talking about in the early 70s. I'm talking about in the 80s. I was just a little boy. And I can still remember my grandfather, my mother's father, who was hard of hearing. And I can still remember being in the house that they had when I was a little boy. And every night, my grandfather would sit in front of the TV and watch the ABC Evening News. It wasn't Peter Jennings, who sadly died years ago. It was another well-known broadcast journalist, which I can think of the name, but I can't think of the name. So, anyways, the point is, I can still remember him sitting in front of TV and the TV be blaring, and that's how he got his information. In that time of his life and era, that's how he got information, and he read the paper. But yet, today, more than ever, we have instant information. It's like instant gratification. And I think, though, that what goes with that is just the biggest misinformation age ever that we are now living in. I think that remember the Y2K 2000 millennium, age went from the 1900s to the 2000 years. I think that 2020 is the decade of the misinformation age. I think today, more than ever, we are. Hey, how do you like my Harley Davidson hat, huh? Yeah, I thought I'd do that. Look here. Got my Harley Davidson Chesapeake jacket on. I mean, for the Chesapeake Harley Davidson guys, I'm wearing all your stuff. Yeah. Am I promoting Harley Davidson today? Yeah. So, I just got a little off course there. I can do that every now and then. But anyways, the point is, more than ever today, the information you are given is borderline not true information. And what's sad is, to me as an individual, things are told to us, and unfortunately, you now more than ever have to question the message because there's an underlying message more than ever. And yes, it isn't anything new that the media, years ago wasn't used as a propaganda machine. That's nothing new. But what to me is more prevalent than ever in our society is today we have a division among ourselves because there's so much information that it turns into like misinformation on what you think you hear of what you actually heard or what you think you saw or what you actually have seen. So for me, as a Ice Age TV motorhead passion, the love of vehicles, it makes me think back in the 70s and even early 80s when I was a young boy growing up, and I can still remember them talking about how the world was going to run out of oil. And for me, just being a little kid, I was thinking, oh man, that so sucks because I'm not going to be able to drive a car. I'm not going to be able, they're going to run out of gas. And I'm just a little boy. I'm not I'm not 15 years old. I'm like 8, 9 years old, 10 years old back in the early 70s, mid 70s when we had the gas crisis. And then back in the early 80s, the talk was we only had X amount of years left of oil. Now, how wrong was that information? Yeah, but for me as a young person, I was thinking I'll never have the opportunity to own a neat car one day because the gas will be gone. But yet today, we know more than ever we have reserves that are beyond even what we even really even know how many years of. I mean, there's more than enough. That's the talk. But yet now it's being taken away from us. So now, on the one hand, years ago, we didn't think we had enough oil. But now on the other hand, we have so much oil. But now we have a division in the world that doesn't want us to use that anymore, which is just, it's the misinformation age. And what I mean by that is, more than ever today, people are being told that they buy an electric vehicle and that you're helping Mother Nature Earth. That's really the underlying message. And we all know that that's not correct because years ago I read that a Tesla, the amount of carbon footprint that a Tesla required to, here's my kid calling me, so I got to take a call. The kid calls, and here we go, the distraction beyond distraction. So just for me, just like a mind blip of where we are in conversation. So the EV vehicle, the Tesla, back in the day, and once again, this is information for years ago, it may not be up to date on this, but the amount of energy, fossil fuels basically, that's needed to make a Tesla is, the car has to go like 47,000 or 45,000 miles before it becomes net zero carbon footprint. So for anybody that buys an electric vehicle that parks in their garage and never puts 50,000 miles on it, you didn't accomplish anything. The only thing you accomplished was a status thing, which that's what Tesla did. Elon Musk, the misinformation man, and some people may be like, whoa, what did it say? No, Elon Musk is the Mr. Misinformation man. Because Elon Musk went downtown to D.C. back in like 2010, and he presented a business plan for the government to give him $1 billion to create an electric vehicle to be the people's car, like Hitler told everybody to have the Volkswagen. Hitler actually did a better job building the people's car. It was an affordable car people would buy. Elon Musk hasn't accomplished that. So Elon Musk, the misinformation guy, he built a business model around very high-line, expensive cars that created the niche market, and the rich owned it. And that was that's a status. I mean, it's not as much today, but it was. That showed that you had money and because there. Where is the affordable Elon Musk Tesla vehicle? And sure, somebody could argue on that, but I'd say, well, it took them 12 years, but you can make all excuses you want. Point is, it's misinformation. Hey, where's the Cybertruck that we put deposits down? Anybody remember that conversation that Elon Musk took a lot of money from people to build the future what-if vehicle and he took money up front? You can go through a list of the misinformation and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Elon Musk is a terrible person. What I'm conveying is more than ever in our society today, we are part of the misinformation that divides us, that angers us. And yeah, I mean, it's truly sad because nobody ever, what's incredible to me is nobody really talks a lot about what was projected and predicted and what actually then ended up happening. That's usually just swept under the rug. And so what I mean by that is, and once again, this is not a political channel, and I don't want to be a political channel. Anybody starts, putting comments in there, I'm just going to ignore them because it's not a political channel. What I'm trying to convey is the Ice Age is part of this Misinformation Age. There's the kid. There's the kid taking off and going off to school in the Mustang. That was the call. Do I drive the Mustang or the Ram? The Division. And she's smart because it's a rainy, cooler day, and she had a really bad experience one time. They ride a Mustang on a really cool, rainy day in February of last year, and it was a sad experience that she totaled a Mustang Bullet car that I had. Yeah, very sad. Thank God she's safe, but yeah, it was a rainy, slick day, and late in the, evening traffic, and driving down a back road where all the traffic stopped as you crest the hill, and how does that all play out? Yeah. She found out very hard. That's why you hear her screaming half the time in the car when I get close to cars. So she has that impact. It's a good thing on one hand because she has that impact fear. She doesn't, she knows now you can't stop. So, anyways, the Misinformation Age. And so let's just step aside for a second and let's just stop talking about the cars and let's talk about what the media has done to us in our country to divide us. If everybody can go back just a few years ago, in 2019, the hate among the country and the divisions was radical because of a guy named George Floyd, sadly died at the hands of a police officer. And once again, I'm not going to get into that. That conversation will go on for until we all die. Nothing was right about that. Everything was bad. Everything is karma. Either the police officer. I mean, it's just bad. But here's the point. That created defund the police. That created the police are bad people. So all we heard from one division of the country was, if you get rid of the police, then it'll be better for the people. Yeah, that was basically the message. And the message was, you can't trust the police. And then another message was, we're going to bring in community officers to handle the situation better. Okay, so let's fast forward. How has defund the police message information that was it was a 24/7 thing that was information being fed to people that the police are bad, they do bad things to people, and you're better off without police because communities can manage things on their own. Well, as we all know right now, the crime in inner cities and even suburbs is just crazy. It's through the roof. Now, yeah. So look at my office, right? The crime is through the roof, and the amount of police officers that have retired and police have gone to different careers is huge. So there's a perfect example, just one scenario of we were told by the general media that it was a division because one half the media said that was the answer, the other side no. But here we are so many years later, and now all of a sudden, because it's a political agenda, it's now all of a sudden maybe we need the police back. Okay, so there's just one example of the misinformation that people buy into. And the reason I want to use that is because more than ever since 2020 and on, the media machine has been feeding misinformation more than ever in my own views. No. That has created the divisions of this country. It's a divided States of America. It's not a United States of America anymore, very sadly, all because of the media machine capitalizing on misinformation, which it even goes to change of administrations. That why right now are we witnessing the most change of times? It's incredible that every YouTube channel that I kind of select and pick and choose to listen to, it's one negative YouTube channel after another, all harboring on the fact that everything's crashing. Housing's crashing, used car market's crashing. The list goes on and on and on and on. That's all you hear now in these YouTube channels of these individuals that just have channels based on used car market valuations and housing valuations. And so the whole now message is it's over. It's terrible times ahead. And even though for me as an individual, I said over a year ago, this is all going to play out, but it isn't like my YouTube channel has been that main focus every day of for anybody watching my YouTube channel. It hasn't been just every day all I talk about is, hey, blah, blah, blah. I try to bring more content than talking about what's going on around us, even though I feel that I just like to share information to try to help others look at things that maybe we'll all become better and more united again one day when we all start to understand that the misinformation is dividing us so much, and that we should step back and understand that there's a lot of media content that's deliberately wanting us to be divided. So I use that example to the ice age to EV age, that more than ever the media machine is hammering on how the EVs, the governing bodies are hammering on EVs. I mean, more than ever in our lifetime right now. And what's so interesting about this is you go pre-pandemic, the EV age wasn't talked about much. You know, it was talked about, but not in great details. When we had a change of administration, the inflation and the energy prices have gone through the roof. It's created what I talked about before. It's created a 4% interest in electric vehicles to like a 36% interest in electric vehicles. Even car dealers will tell you that, oh yeah, but every phone call is somebody want an electric vehicle. And you'd say, well, prior to the pandemic and the oil prices shooting through the roof, did people ask for electric vehicles? And they'd say no, they didn't ask for them. In fact, we even had electric vehicles sitting here we couldn't even sell. And that's been a story as well we've heard many times over. So the oil industry, let's look at the misinformation of the oil industry. We have been told since this past January, I should say February, when Ukraine invaded Russia, or I should say Russia invaded Ukraine, but you know what's funny is now it's Ukraine invading Russia, basically. So we were told that that's the reason oil is so expensive, because now we've got a supply chain issue, blah, 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 blah. Now we're starting to realize that was a big fat lie. Russia never stopped pumping oil. Russia kept on selling it. So that's a bunch of baloney, malarkey that these investors and traders are trying to, pull the wool over everybody's eyes that we have an oil shortage. We don't have an oil shortage. And then the other side was we shut down the Keystone Pipeline. Oh, we shut down domestic production, blah, 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 blah. Now here's OPEC oil saying we're going to cut back 1 million barrels a day because there's too much oil in the market. I mean, this is just beyond believable. And now the oil prices, the oil traders are bumping the oil back up, barrel of oil. The gas stations don't control the gas price. The jobbers and the oil companies control the gas price. The gas station guy can't control the gas price. Doesn't work that way. I'm in that industry. I'm in the oil industry, the gasoline industry. I'm in that. I know things way more than most people know. What people don't know, and my numbers now, my company reflect exactly what I've been saying all year long. 30% less foot traffic at gas stations. You don't hear that through the media. You hear some bozo media journalist stand in front of a gas station talking to a person about, hey, how do you feel with that gas price? You're getting screwed, basically. And they're like, yeah, this freaking gas station's ripping me off. It's beyond believable. It's the oil traders and OPEC. That's part of Russia that's controlling the markets. It's a gas station jobber. That doesn't operate that way. There's laws. Do you understand that gas stations have to have a posted price on their gas station everywhere they go? Do you see posted prices of cars when you drive down a street on a big sign? So for the gas station industry, it's very regulated, and it's controlled by the jobbers that supply the fuel to the gas station that have to abide by state guidelines and not have this gouging of gas. You have no idea how many jobbers have tried to do gouging on overpricing gasoline. It was all said and done, the state goes after them, and they have to reimburse they get fined big time. You can't play that game. It's a regulated industry. Weights and measures that make sure that the gallon of gas. I mean, it's very more detailed than that, but the whole point is the oil industry is not selling fuel. It's down big time. Okay, so why the high prices of oil besides the misinformation, the pull of the wool over your eyes, stock market traders who to me are the worst. They're the worst. The greed beyond greed. Yes, it's bad. Look at this. The latest news. Do you remember all these shipping big ships out in the ocean that people are taking pictures of and videoing how at the port of Los Angeles or whatever ports that these major freight shipping companies have all this stuff. They can't get to the shores or backed up, blah, 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 blah. We're not going to have, this. We're going to have that. This is factual. They are now dead in the water. They're parking major shipping freight companies. They don't have enough stuff to ship overseas. The economy has slowed down so much, they can't fill up these freight shipping containers to get them over here. It doesn't make any sense. So they're idling ships. This is a fact. So we went from here on. There's so many ships out there that can't unload cargo. Now the ships don't have enough cargo to be loaded on to make a trip to this country. So that industry is going down is dire straits. They burn a lot of fuel. That's not being burned up anymore. FedEx Freight, they've raised their hand. They're in dire straits. They're not shipping stuff like they used to. UPS, Amazon, the list goes on and on. What is going on in the oil industry? There's not a shortage. There's too much oil. Misinformation. Beyond believable of what we are witnessing today. But you have to say to yourself, there's an agenda. The green agenda does not want $2 gasoline. That drives away the EV. In fact, you know what's interesting? A lot of electric vehicles on the Ford side are starting to show up. I just sold my electric vehicle, Mustang Mach-E, to Coons Baltimore Ford, and I didn't get what I paid for it. I took basically a $4,000 loss. Bigger than that because I paid ADM. But I got a tax credit, but blah, 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 whatever. And yeah, so not good. I mean, I put basically 12,000 miles on it. And how much fuel did I save on buying that car? Yeah, right. The whole point is there's now more than ever, electric vehicles are sitting idle at lots. People aren't buying them. Why? What is going on? Right, but everybody's saying, oh, be so lucky to get one, and you got to get in line to order a car, and that's a whole other conversation of misinformation. So the car industry, which is truly, it's going through a change as we speak. Their presentation is the new car sales are still great. It's not seeing an impact on the slowdown of the used car market we're seeing. Oh my gosh! So the average last year, pre-pandemic, we sold like 19 to 20 million new cars in this country. Right now, this country is projected to maybe sell 13 million cars. What are you talking about? How the new car sales is still great? No, new car sales is the worst. It's terrible. But the dealer's perception to you is, well, we can't get them, so we have to order them now. So new car sales is great. That's a bunch of malarkey. Any car dealers watching my YouTube channel would say, yeah, we now sell 300 used cars and 100 new cars. Or we sell 100 used cars and we sell 25 new cars. Yeah, hello, misinformation. It's beyond believable of where we are today in today's society that people get caught up in the media machine. And you get divided. We got divided because of the pandemic of the virus. We got divided because of the vaccine. It cracks me up because there's a division the one administration, Trump's administration, wanted to put a vaccine in the marketplace as fast as possible. I didn't like that idea. I did not like the idea that Trump wanted to just shove down everybody's throat a vaccine that hadn't even been in the market for 6 months. And so the opposite party was being, oh my God, I wouldn't take that vaccine for anything in the world. I wouldn't take it for anything in the world. That man's going to kill you. That man's going to kill you. All right, Trump gets out of office, and that whole party that was telling everybody don't take the vaccine now is shoving it down your throat, take the vaccine. Does anybody remember this? Does anybody remember these conversations? When one administration was in office, they were telling everybody the virus is pretty bad, but no, it wasn't bad, but yeah, it was bad, and businesses are being shut down. But then now, all you hear about now is how this other administration, it didn't harm businesses, and it actually opened the back door. It's misinformation, and then that's what it does. It draws a political division because of what you've been taught to think. Yes, more than ever. So today's message is, for me as a YouTuber, is we live in an age that is more misinformation than ever, that's driving a rhetoric and driving the ice age away. Sadly, the passion for the gasoline engines is being driven away from us ICE people, because the EV, is the minority. It's not the majority. It's not the majority. You just heard the statistics. Pre-pandemic and gas and oil getting very expensive, 4% of the people are interested in an electric car. Now, supposedly 36% of the people are interested in a car. They're still a minority, but yet the governing bodies of our country and our world is forcing electric vehicles onto mankind. But for why? Because I just gave an example that the Tesla car, it takes close to 50,000 miles to go. You'd have to run 50,000 miles for the amount of carbon footprint that was used to make that vehicle. You didn't buy a green vehicle. And then if you plug it into your house, it uses an oil or coal or natural gas power. How are you green? You're not. So misinformation. That's the message today. And, at the same time, good Lord, the car industry, what's going on with the Ford? Ford's got the 2023 Ford trucks are getting ready to be, you can start ordering a 2023 Ford Super Duty at the end of October, but yet they have 45,000 vehicles sitting around a stadium right now in Kentucky, what's that all about? Misinformation? Oh my gosh, be unbelievable. And then Ram, pretty cool. Ram's new Power Wagon 2500 series is going to offer a Cummins diesel. Oh, that's dangerous. Yeah, that's dangerous. For me to hear that, yeah, it's incredible. Cummins is not. Cummins is separate from Ford, from what Ford does. Cummins makes a motor for Ram. Ford makes their own in-house diesel. GM has their own Duramax motor. Well, it's really interesting. The Cummins isn't playing the big number game. I was amazed at this. Cummins is at like 375, I think, horsepower, maybe 350, and like 850 foot-pounds of torque. Yet Ford's diesel is like close to 500 horsepower and like close to 1,100 foot-pounds of torque. And the Duramax is like the same thing. Very interesting how Cummins is not playing the game. They just don't see it. They just feel like that inline six, which is an awesome motor. But for me, here's the danger factor. Yeah, a Power Wagon with a Cummins motor setup in it. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yikes. Yeah, so I read that's the danger. I think myself all the time. I was growing up as a kid. I always look at all the car magazines, truck magazines, motorcycle magazines. It's the addiction. You watch and read, and then you're like, oh man, I want one of those. But that's just the passion of life. So kind of, closing out the Tuesday morning misinformation, I just want to throw a few things in there about, hey, it is about the car market. It's all about me doing things with my cars. And now the debate is, what do I do with the Charger? What am I up to next? Okay, so hey, if you're watching my channel, what's my next adventure? All right, everybody. Hope everybody has a great day, and I hope everybody can stay upbeat because the meanness is here. I said that actually a long time ago, a while back, that people are going to get mean and nasty because the free money's gone and hardships are here. And sadly, when people don't have money, sadly, they're not happy. And how do you handle your circumstances? And how do you prevail? Because nothing lasts forever, good or bad. That's just the way life is. So maybe if they're going through economic hardships, I feel sorry for you. At the same time, there's some people who make more money than they've ever made from these economic hardships. So one man's sorrows is another one man's wealth. But anyways, hey, thanks for watching Ice Age TV. Hope this morning helped you look at things differently. And you can share that information with others. And I hope everybody has a blessed day and stay safe and stay tuned.